Mount Hood Village, Oregon. This is at the base of Mount Hood. Great location. My name is Miles McLaughlin here with Wilco Land. In this video, I'm going to go over some FAQs that our land buyers have and talk about what I know about the property and share that with you. So just getting started here, browsing through some photos. You can see this property does have road access. I'll get to that in a minute. A big thing in this video I'll cover is access to the property. First, I'll let you know what we do here at Wilco Land is we buy and sell raw land. Our focus is focusing on unique and what we like to say epic areas in the country, right? Offering different kind of land investments in more of a self-service model. So we're going to share with you what we know. We're going to provide, tips on how to view and do all that good stuff. But ultimately, you as a buyer, you're going to have to go do your own viewing or maybe contact an agent to help you out. I do have some resources here in Oregon if you are looking for one. Otherwise, you can do a lot of your own homework on these properties, and I'll show you how in this video. So enough with the photos. You can look through some of that on your own. I do have aerial imagery, some drone imagery that my photographer got too. Like I said, just a world-class location, really a pretty area. It's only 1/10 of an acre, but a really nice opportunity to maybe camp or get creative with different land use opportunities. When it comes to land use, you can go to zoning. I've got a link to the county website right here where you can learn more about our zoning. The next thing I want to talk about and kind of the meat and potatoes of this video is going to be access and location. So number one, I'm simply copying and pasting these GPS coordinates into my favorite app, which is Onyx Maps. Other people will use apps like LandGlide. There's a lot of different ways to go visit these properties. I personally find Onyx Maps is the most helpful resource. So you can see our property is off a public right-of-way, which is East Sampson Avenue here. So you can see we're located right here. Somebody, has put a driveway in. Just these parcel lines could be slightly off. I don't think it's on our property, but what we're looking at here is called a GIS map. It overlays on top of satellite imagery. So it's overlaying plat maps on top of satellite imagery. So you can see it does have a public right-of-way for access here right off Highway 26. I will give you a quick bird's eye view. The main selling point here is the location. This is Mount Hood Village, right? There's not a lot of opportunities to own real estate right outside of Mount Hood here. So we're between Portland and Mount Hood. You've got Government Camp, and then you've got, like Welches, Mount Hood Village. This is really a cute little town, whatever you want to classify it as. Grab a burger here at the burger joint, whatever you want to do, right? So you got Sampson Avenue coming up here too, and this. So again, you can kind of see the parcel lines here on Google Maps even. The third resource I would use to look at this property from a bird's eye view, aerial imagery, is using Google Earth. In the listing, we share that file. So if you're in here and you click to view on Google Earth Maps, that's where you'll find that. And let's see if I have the right link in here. I got to download it and I'll open it up right here. So we can see the property located here as I zoom out. You can click into photos. Like Google Earth has a lot of cool photos, right? It's just a beautiful area. And so again, you can't really see the road, but it's there. It exists. It's definitely overgrown. It's really private back here. So a couple ideas for this property, what I'm seeing here. It's pretty flat, pretty private. I like it a lot. Just a great location here next to Mount Hood. A lot of public recreation, a lot of public land next door to you. So if I zoom out on Onyx Maps, you can see this is all BLM land. As I zoom out, this is all Mount Hood Wilderness. So everything around this area, Salmon Huckleberry Wilderness, you can see it's all BLM land. It's all national forest. It's all wilderness areas, right? And then right outside of here, you have Mount Hood, which is world class. And so this is just 1/10 of an acre. And so I want to talk about potential land use. We have it priced with this in mind, but there's no city utilities to this location. So we're at a location here where there isn't city utilities. And when we're talking about 1/10 of an acre of a property, that's going to be tough to fit both a septic system and a well. So we sell a lot of different properties like this. What do you do with properties like this that may be too small to fit both a septic and a well? So number one, people will buy these properties as land investments. Hey, I believe in the area. I believe they're not making any more land. It's a supply and demand thing. There's going to be ways to use this property as technology improves. So number one, technology improves and they can fit well and septic into this property. Or you choose between a well or a septic system. Or, and you maybe put a septic system in if you can get that approved. Nobody's gone through the approval process. Nobody's gone through the permit process with this property. I'm basing this off my decade plus of experience doing land investing, right? And talking about what a lot of our different customers do. So number one, you have this long-term investment. If you want to start using the property, camping is allowed. So you can camp on the property. So there are some restrictions. They don't want to see you doing it for more than 30 days consecutively. Obviously, this property is pretty tucked away back there, but you'll have to go check it out and see if it's a type of area you want to camp. I think like a yurt, I think some sort of property structure that maybe doesn't require a permit, maybe like a tiny home or a dry cabin, a camping site, something like that, right? Get creative, teepees, yurts, like that's, when you want to buy land in world-class areas, you have to start doing that. You have to get creative with these land investments. And why do I say that is because, the next closest listing you can buy is over $100,000. Ours is priced less than $40,000. We have this price to sell. The next closest listing is going to be $50,000. I think we're at 39 right now. And we'll continue to aggressively drop the price until it sells. We're in the process, we're in the business of selling land fast. You can see Mount Hood here. This is some good aerial imagery. This property doesn't have access. This is $50,000. So here's your options. Is something without access? There's no access to this property. And it looks like there's some issues with the soil down here. You see that kind of cracking or maybe a stream, but there's no access to this little tiny, this is 9,000 square feet. So a little bit smaller than ours. And so there's no access to this. Our property has legit access and it's a lot closer to Mount Hood Village, right? Into amenities. So if you want other similar properties, this property is a tenth of an acre, 10,000 square feet, the same size as ours, going for $200,000. Why is it that way? Is because you can connect to water, city, sewer, and power, right? You can get power to our property, should be no problem. The issue is going to be a well and a septic system. Now, again, why do you buy stuff like this? Okay, get creative. We talked about yurts. We talked about camping. We talked about recreational use. Getting creative with these land investments. Maybe you can build a dry cabin that's 800 square feet. You in a spot to sleep for a couple of buddies who ski at Mount Hood. Maybe you guys recreate in the area. You just want a weekend place it. You'll haul water in. You'll bring your own water. You'll figure out, sanitary options, right? So again, you got to work with the county on what you need to do and what you want to do and do your own due diligence and verify that. But there's going to be a lot you can do with this. In terms of long-term investment, who's to say the city of Mount Hood Village doesn't run city utilities back here at some point? They don't have water. They don't have power run to this neighborhood at some point, right? Who's to say that doesn't happen in the next 5, 10, 15 years? The other thing I want to bring up too is who's to say the technology in the next couple of years or 5 or 10 years doesn't develop to a point where there's a lot of really cool ideas you can do with this property. There's new type of septic systems that fit on small properties. There's new ways to get water. Maybe it's a holding tank, a cistern, right? Maybe you haul in water and you have a holding tank on the property. There's other ways to develop property. What do you think people are doing in the desert, where there is no water? So there's a lot of ways our customers are getting creative with these type of properties because the barrier to enter Mount Hood Village is at least $100,000 for something similar to this. I mean, based on this comp, it's $200,000. So it's your opportunity to find an affordable land investment and get creative with how you want to use it. I touched on some of the different ways people use these type of land investments. Our business model is going to be selling these properties as is. We're going to ask you to verify your own information, do your own due diligence. But, like I said, this property, these are really hard land investments to find in these locations. And so, we price them with all things in mind. We have road access that checks out. You can camp on the property. You can look into putting in yurts, teepees, tiny homes, dry cabins. And like I said, maybe at some point down the road, the technology is there or the utilities get run to this property. And again, kind of putting a cap on it is nobody's actually gone through the permit process to get a septic or build. We don't know. There's no guarantee that you can't get a septic system approved and then haul your own water in. That's speculative by me for this listing. So that's kind of what I have to say about this area. This is really, how we sell these properties, right? And we sell a lot of them like this. It's get creative, find unique ways to use land. There's a lot of now tangible use right now for camping, for creativity, tree forts, things like that. Small structures that are just dry cabins where you're sleeping in on the weekend, right? For recreation. Maybe it's an Airbnb. Maybe that's an Airbnb idea. There's plenty of companies out there that can drop little storage container type of homes on your property that are under the square footage needed for a permit. So, think about that stuff. That's how you have to change your mindset into these land investments. They're not useless. The world's changing. There's a lot of things available out there to use these properties. And, there's also that long-term asset, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, who knows what the landscape of the world or this area looks like. This could be worth 3-4 times the value. This could have city utilities to connect to. So you just don't know. And, there's a value to every real estate asset out there. So that's kind of my spiel on this Mount Hood Village property. Again, we're a small land investment company. Give us a call if you have questions or want to chat more with me about it. 605-250-1256. Thanks for tuning in.